Welcome back to another episode of the Bourbon Lens. This is Jake along with Scott, and we have ventured to downtown Louisville, Kentucky, aka NuLu, for those people who do know the area. And we're stopping at a brand new location. This is called the Local Seltzery, and you're probably wondering, why the hell is the Bourbon Lens at the Local Seltzery? I'll tell you why. Because you need to have a place in your arsenal that you can take the wife that's not necessarily always bourbon, or you've had that long day on the trail drinking all the bourbon and you just need a little something with a lower ABV count. Guess what? You head to the Local Seltzery and you can hang out and you can get all types of drinks and some charcuterie I saw that you'll have down there and get going. So that's my take on why we're here, because it's a big deal. Derby is right around the corner, and we're excited to talk about horse racing in Louisville because it's the biggest time of the year, and they're calling it the biggest Derby that we've ever had.
Oh, yeah.
So we are joined today by Tyler Sparkman, the general manager of the Local Seltzery, to kind of hang out with us. We're going to go through a flight, and we're going to talk about even some bourbon seltzers that they have here on tap at the Local Seltzery. So, Tyler, thanks for joining us.
Yeah, thanks for having me. Yeah, I appreciate it. Like you said, some of your listeners may be confused, but we're venturing into the bourbon world, and a lot of people that work here, and even the owners, we drink bourbon as well, and we kind of think that we can all, instead of being in competition with each other with the industries, we can all kind of blend together and extend the beverage market here in Louisville, Kentucky, and not even Louisville, just in the world.
There we go.
Eventually.
I was going to say, Louisville has a big drinking culture in addition to like food culture. I mean, obviously the food is top notch, but just drinking culture. And I think we talked about this on our Irish whiskey episode about how the culture embraces like just drinking as a social gathering.
Yeah, togetherness. Drinking kind of brings people together. It's not like you have to get drunk every time you drink. It's just enjoying a beverage, sit around talking to your friends, meeting new people.
Yeah. Hashtag please drink responsibly.
Always.
So, what's really interesting you say that is because when you're here, right, you get a feel for some of that local, drinking culture, right? Because you'll have on tap beers from local breweries. You have a little bit of bourbon flavor. And I think that's the nice thing about what you all are doing. You all are marrying Louisville culture with some ideologies and what you all want to do with the seltzery. But before we dive into too much into the podcast, I feel like this is like the most magical time of the year. This podcast will release on April 25th. Thunder over Louisville will have just happened, and there'll be big bangs and booms and a big air show that run through downtown. So as you all are experiencing your all's first Derby here in NuLu, like what's the buzz like as you all get ready and ramp up for this activity that's going to happen in 2 weeks?
Yeah, so we're just super excited. So we kind of opened. We opened in winter, and we kind of opened in the middle or the end or who knows, whatever, the pandemic.
Yeah,
it's probably still going on. Who knows? But we're just excited for people to actually get out. There's a lot of people in Louisville that really haven't even heard of us yet. And Thunder, Oaks, Derby, those are times of the year that people, they get out and they experience Louisville for what it is. And we want those people that, that live in Louisville, we want those people to come here, but we also want people that don't live in Louisville. Derby and Thunder is the two biggest days of the year that is the two biggest tourist, days of the year. People from all over the country, people from all over the world come on those 2 days. We're kind of looking to, bring those people in and kind of show them what a seltzery is all about. And, not just a seltzery the way we do it, because a lot of seltzeries do a lot of different. So, we kind of want to open their eyes and let them see what it actually can be. And even if they're not enjoying it here, maybe they can enjoy it somewhere else.
Yeah. Well, because seltzer has become a big thing, right? I think
if you didn't notice, you've been under a rock, right?
I mean, when Bud Light comes out with their own seltzer, you know that this is a big thing, right? And Mountain Dew, right?
Mountain Dew seltzer.
Right. We were talking about this the first time we met.
Talk about headache.
No. So, and I can let you expand, but we were talking about how Kentucky is like the largest per capita consumer of Mountain Dew in the country.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so when they released Mountain Dew Hard Seltzer, they didn't even release it in Kentucky.
Well, that was stupid.
Yeah, missed opportunity.
Well, I guess because they make it with their own moonshine, so it doesn't really matter.
Yeah,
And they wanted to make it rare. They know these Kentuckians are still going to get it.
Yeah.
Somehow they're still going to get it.
they went to Bristol, watched their NASCAR. And,
Yeah.
Get that Mountain Dew hard seltzer. That Baja Blast.
Yeah, exactly. But seltzer is a big thing. So, as you come on, you have a distilling background. So like, this isn't necessarily non-bourbon adjacent. Like bourbon is part of this conversation because we'll talk about one of the seltzers that we are drinking tonight. But when you come from a distilling background and working with a local producer, what's that look like to transition from, the grind of bourbon into something that's a little more upstart R&D type of program?
Yeah. So I loved where I was in bourbon. I loved the industry. I loved everything. But I seen this as almost like a kind of getting in at the ground floor. And, everybody knows about bourbon, which they should. But I feel like, people don't know about the craft that can go into a seltzer. A lot of people think of seltzer as, just some carbonated water thrown together with some flavor and some random alcohol. A lot of people don't even know what's in their seltzer. They don't know what makes it alcoholic. They don't know about the craft that goes into it. So, I kind of seen it as an opportunity to kind of, bourbon is a lot of craft if you want to make a really good product. And I figured, why can't seltzer be just that? Why can't seltzer be, a craft that you can be proud of? That's why I wanted to branch out over here. I wanted to kind of bring the craft that the bourbon industry has in it. I wanted to bring it to this industry and, expand. Yeah. Well, we're definitely going to bring in a different crowd than, that industry, brings in, but I don't see why we can't kind of conjoin.
Yeah. I'll tell you this, my wife has never been more excited about a podcast and, potentially trying something than this one, right? Because it's more up her alley, right? We've tried the Michelob Ultras, we've tried the High Noons, we've tried the Trulies, I don't know, there's like 50 million at this point.
Yeah.
So, I mean, at the end of the day, there's this big thing. We've talked about this boom. Now, before going in, like, Scott, I'll ask you, have you drank any seltzers? Have you enjoyed the lighter cocktails?
In the summer, I'll get a can or two, but it's not like where I stay. I drink a lot of beer in the summer, which is probably bad for my figure. But
Miller Lite, right?
But I will tell you that I cannot drink the malt-based like seltzers. Like if I'm going to drink it, it's got to be like the vodka-based or something. High Noon. That's probably one of the first seltzers I tried, and I was like, oh, this is okay.
Yeah. And so when you mean malt-based, and I'll turn it over to Tyler, what does malt-based seltzers mean?
So a lot of these companies, you're big players when you think about White Claw and you think about Truly. They're doing a malt-based beverage, which is essentially, it's going to be a heavier beverage because malt and wheat and stuff like that, not necessarily wheat, but just grains and stuff like that. It's, they're heavy products to use when it comes to a beverage, which obviously vodka's, uses a lot of those too, but in a different capacity. But when you're using a malt-based beverage like a White Claw or something like that, they're essentially brewing, like a beer base and, essentially turning up the alcohol on it to making it to where they can put, very little in a beverage and still getting into that 5% level. But what we kind of seen is like when you put that malt base into, a hard seltzer with the flavor, you don't really get a lot of the actual flavor itself. A lot of people say is like, it's like you're drinking TV static with a little bit of flavor. And, that's exactly what we wanted to get away from. We wanted to get a beverage that was really clean, and we wanted to, like, you be able to taste the flavor, still have the carbonation there, but not something that's going to blow up your stomach. So yeah, malt-based beverages kind of do that. Like, not that we want you to slam our beverages. Like, we don't want you to slam a drink at the bar and ask for another one. They're meant to enjoy, but, drinking a White Claw, it's kind of hard on your stomach. Like, it's heavy. They're still pretty low calorie, but it's heavy for what's in it. And we feel like they're overly carbonated, which some people like that, and that's okay. But we wanted to get away from that, which is why we used vodka-based beverages. So, so we use vodka-based. We feel that it makes the drink a little cleaner. it allows us to even put in a little more of our flavor in it and still get it to that low calorie level. So, we feel like, a lot of people in the summer, seltzer's typically a, summer drink by the beach. It's easy drinking, which is fine. We would love for our seltzer to be that for everybody. But we also feel like seltzer can be a drink that you can come in and sit and enjoy.
On draft. Yeah.
On draft.
Yeah.
That's kind of something that's unheard of. So, we want people to come in here and actually sit and enjoy their drink instead of, slamming it on spring break.
Yeah.
Which is fine too.
Yeah.
Which is fine too. But there's
There's a time and a place, right?
There's time and place for everything.
Right.
But in these nice glasses, there's not a time and place to be slamming back seltzers.
Exactly.
That sounds like a workers' comp claim waiting to happen. And we have our lawyer here on hand that can weigh in on that.
Yeah, he's here somewhere.
But so, for me, I think I've maybe had like 5 seltzers in my whole life. And I think the ones I've had have been like the red, white, and raspberry or blueberry Smirnoff ones.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I like mixed them with bourbon, in all honesty.
Right. Yeah.
And they were okay. They're not like something I'm running to go get. But like as we sit down here and we enjoy these, I can tell you, like, I don't have that initial kind of like fogginess that I've gotten from the other ones that may have been malt based.
Yeah.
They're really clean. The first thing I noticed about this location in particular, it smells nice in here. It smells like the flavors that you all are utilizing.
For sure.
And it just made it really inviting because it's a super clean space and super inviting space. And we watched you pour cocktails out of the cocktail gun, and that was really cool. And so like, that's what I want to get into is, your process of crafting these seltzers, right? So what's going into, in front of me, I have the peach, one and the mango one and the blueberry. You were nice enough to, put a flight together. And if you get the blueberry, we'll just go ahead and get this on the podcast. Just think of the Eiffel 65 song, I'm blue, dabba dee dabba da. And that is the name
please.
Of the actual blueberry cobbler.
It slipped right past me the first time.
And if you can't pronounce it, it's okay to say it's okay to order the blueberry cobbler. You can just tell me you want the blueberry cobbler. It's fine. I'll know what you're talking about.
Yeah. So, how did we go about like, getting it to the gun, right? What are the elements that make up this blend, right? Because that's what it is, this blend of a drink. Yeah.
So we start with the water. So obviously, a hard seltzer, the most important ingredient you're going to be drinking is the water. So we want to make sure we're using really clean water. So what we do is we use Louisville City water, which is, voted some of the cleanest water in the United States of America. And then we triple filter that water into our tanks down here. And so what we do then is we carbonate that water in our tank to a level that's a little bit over a highly carbonated beer. Like I said before, we don't carbonate our beverages like a LaCroix or even a White Claw. We do a little less than that because we find it's a little better to kind of enjoy the flavor and sit and enjoy maybe even a couple. So that's the most important step is going to be the water. So the second step we do is inside of those tanks after we chill it through a glycol chiller. We insulate the lines, they go into the ground, and we run it to each of our 4 stations at the bar. So we have four guns at the bar that can pour any drink that we have in the house. And so, like I said, that's the most important ingredient you have. And then we have a manifold system. And what we do is we have our bottles of flavor that we have, curated off-site for space issues and stuff like that. So we use all natural flavors, nothing artificial, no artificial colorings, anything like that. We're using real stuff that goes into these. And then we have our vodka in these manifolds as well. And so what we're doing is we're electronically programming these guns to pull from each of these stations. So one station being the water, one station being the flavors, one station being the vodka. So, say I want to pour somebody a blueberry cobbler, it's, when I press this button, it's going to be this much water, this much flavor, and this much vodka every single time I press that button.
Yeah.
And a lot of time and testing goes into that. like even the flavor itself. So not every flavor will blend well with vodka and water. So just to craft one of these flavors, it takes a lot of trial and error.
Yeah.
We have to get this flavor created and then try it. Maybe it's too sweet, maybe it's too bitter. Maybe the vodka completely overpowers it, which is something we don't want. So we have to get that flavor fixed, and then so a lot of trial and error. And not every flavor, we don't put the same exact amount of flavor in every single gun, which is why some of the calorie counts are different. Some like a banana requires a little less flavor than, a cranberry ginger.
Yeah.
Because a banana is a very potent flavor. It's a flavor that's going to stick out among the rest. You're going to know you have banana in something.
Yeah.
So, it's a lot of trial and error. And and then, the way we pour it over ice, because carbonation is directly affected by temperature. So, we found that the colder you can make something, the more carbonated it can be, and the more the flavor in our drinks will actually come out. So we pour it over ice, and then we always give you a straw with it, obviously, but we do recommend that you drink every one of our seltzers through a straw, because a straw does help with carbonation. It, directs it, and it also helps with flavor.
Yeah.
You're going to be able to, every single part of every flavor that we make, you're going to be able to taste if you drink it through a straw.
I was just thinking like high-tech mixology.
Yeah.
It's kind of exactly what it is.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's high-tech mixology, and it's, you can go to a bar here in Louisville, and depending on which bartender you have, maybe you can get a different old fashioned, right? Like one person's old fashioned is not going to be like this other one's. So, but no matter what, if you get a blueberry cobbler at the Local Seltzery, even if we have another location, it's going to be the same exact blueberry cobbler, no matter who poured that drink. Yeah. So it's just like it's definitely the ideal of consistency.
It's almost a little foolproof, right?
It's foolproof,
and I think that's nice, because I was sending a message to someone. I was eating at a local steakhouse, and I ordered the first old fashioned, to your point, and I'm like, man, that was really good. I get the second one, it was like so underwhelming. And it was like super frustrating. But with this, like what I've noticed is there's consistency, whether we're drinking the first one we poured or the flight of different seltzers we have. There's a consistency. It's super clean. The flavors are there in each of these, which is nice. And I also realized I need to be drinking my beer out of a straw, because that's carbonated. And if I want to get that full yeast flavor, I need to be drinking my beer.
Hey, you might get some hate for it, but listen, people, all new ideals get hated in the beginning,
Yeah. So when you see me sitting by the pool this summer,
I heard that's a bad idea, but that's just me. You know what you need to do is drink your whiskey from a straw.
No, there's no carbonation in that. That would be a long evening explaining to my wife why I was in the backyard in the fetal position.
That's possible too.
What goes into crafting a flavor? Like that's, you're talking about natural flavors, and like I know those are proprietary, and we're not going to get into those things.
Yeah.
But like, what goes into crafting flavor? Because you hear artificial sweeteners, artificial flavors, all of those things. And to be honest, I read the back of something and I'm pretty stupid, and I'm like, all natural flavors. That sounds like it's healthy. Like, what does that mean?
Yeah. So like anything in our flavors, we don't put anything in it that's going to make our flavors last for 10 years. You know what I mean? Like, so it's not going to be some kind of syrup that you're going to pick up on the shelf at Kroger that never really expires. We're going to have real, like say we have like a peach, we're going to have real peach flavor in this drink, and we're going to have real natural sugar in this drink. It's going to be things that, that are, we didn't have to make this product to put in this drink to serve it. It's stuff that's already here. All natural. We just wanted to get away from things that like could be seen as something like crazy commercial. Like we definitely didn't want to do that. So like I said, when you think about peach, it's like it's going to be an all natural peach flavor. It's not some kind of thing that somebody created in some lab somewhere in Los Angeles.
And the drinks are clear.
They're clear, yeah. And then I want to say too, most of the time, when you get these commercial seltzers, a lot of people get confused when our drinks are clear. Like if they order a blueberry or a cranberry, and what I tell them, when you get a flavor like a can, like one of these mass produced cans, and it comes out flavored, I'm already telling them, I'm like, they're putting artificial color in that.
Yeah.
Like it's an artificial color. I highly doubt that they're putting, a raspberry puree in there to make that pink, which is like you can use, and like we've colored some of our drinks before, like some of our specials, but even when we do that, we're using like a natural coloring. Like we had a green cocktail for St. Patrick's Day. Even with that, we're like, well, we're not going to use some kind of food coloring. Like that's like a regular food coloring. Like we're going to stay with this all natural thing. And, we use like a spirulina based dye. Because, spirulina is something that's natural and it's not something that's made. Yeah. So, any drink that we have, all of our drinks are clear, but any drink that we do have that's not, rest assured, it's going to be some kind of all natural coloring that we put in that drink.
And for the health conscious out there, it is all vegan.
It's all vegan. It's all gluten free. I mean, it's the calories are 100 or less in every drink. And then, carbs, the highest carb we have in any drink in here is 5.
Yeah.
Most being 3 and under.
Sounds like a win.
I feel like I'm losing weight just drinking this stuff.
It's getting hydrated, right?
Yeah. That's how you stay
water.
slim.
Yeah. You got to drink water to stay slim. So,
well, I always heard that vodka water was like the go-to club drink, so that as you sweat out your alcohol, you are taking in water to hydrate through the dance party.
Exactly. Exactly.
So we walked in,
yep,
and on the bar set 2 bottles of whiskey.
Yeah.
So, I mean, you knew we were coming.
Oh yeah.
But that wasn't just for us, right?
No, sir.
So tell us a little bit about your bourbon-based seltzers.
Yeah. So, I mean, Kentucky Derby right around the corner. Obviously, their big drink is it's the mint julep, right? Like, and we could sit here and do a vodka-based mint julep seltzer, but it wouldn't feel authentic to Louisville, Kentucky. We're based in Louisville, Kentucky. This is our first location. It would almost feel sacrilegious if we try to do that. So we kind of put our heads together and we're like, okay, so how are we going to add to this community? Like, how are we going to add to it? How are we going to increase the experience for people that's coming here for Derby and actually want to experience Louisville, Kentucky for its fullest, which is, bourbon culture is at the forefront of that. So, we thought, let's do a bourbon seltzer. We haven't really heard of a bourbon seltzer ever. There's not a lot of commercialized, like big brands doing bourbon seltzers. Obviously, you can go get a highball anywhere. But we wanted to kind of do something different. So what we did is we're going to be releasing a mint julep seltzer, and our mint julep seltzer, it's a syrup that we've had created. It's going to have taste of fresh mint. It's not going to be some kind of like toothpaste taste that you would be afraid to get in a drink. It's going to be fresh mint. It's going to be pretty subtle. And the alcohol that we use in our seltzer, our base one, is going to be Old Forester, and it's a brand that everybody knows, and it's they've stood the test of time, obviously, because they make a quality product.
Yeah.
And it's something that blends very well in a beverage, and so we blend Old Forester with mint julep syrup that we've created with our seltzer water, and it we found that it tastes very delicious. We also have an option, so that option is going to be an option that's going to be good for everybody. Now, if you're a bourbon drinker, you'll like it, and even if you're somebody that doesn't really like bourbon, you're still going to enjoy the beverage. It's not like this one isn't going to have that burn that sometimes some bourbon drinks can have. It's not going to be hard on you. It's going to be a pretty easy beverage to drink, just kind of like the rest of them. The mint julep and the blueberry cobbler is not really going to, differ much in drinkability. But, for people that's going to come in here that's, really likes bourbon and really wants to come to Kentucky, or even if you live here, if you're not, like you want to experience that bourbon kind of culture. So we wanted to adhere to that. So we have another version, which is we have our seltzer water and the mint julep syrup, and then we pour Woodford Reserve on top. So it's going to be essentially it's going to be a Woodford Reserve mint julep seltzer. The
official sponsor of Churchill Downs.
Yeah,
there you go.
Official sponsor of Churchill Downs.
There we go.
We wanted to stay traditional.
There we go. And they stuck with both Brown and Foreman products, right? Like
for sure.
Yeah, they made sure they stayed classy
because they're just down the road.
They are. You know, you got to keep local at the local seltzer.
Exactly.
You know, that'd be bad if you were not doing that. So what I found interesting is I'm not a huge mint julep fan. Just like traditional, I think a lot of times it's too much mint for me. This was really balanced. You're a big mint julep guy. You make them every year.
Yeah.
You know, what did you think? Because I'm interested in your thoughts because you are a big mint julep.
Yeah, I mean, clearly it's a spin on.
Yeah, it's a riff.
It's a spin on mint julep.
Oh yeah.
So it's got the lighter flavors. You know, a mint julep to me is really just sugar and a lot of bourbon, and that's what it ends up being at every derby party I've ever been to. But this has like a nice balance of a little bit of the whiskey in the background. You've got a little bit of the sugars, and then that mint just kind of lingers.
Yeah.
So that's what we started with. I was like, okay, this is right up my alley because I was just thinking Japanese highballs, like whiskey highballs. That's what people do. Whiskey and club soda and put it over ice in the summer when it's hot. If you're a whiskey drinker, that's what you're going to be pouring.
Exactly. Yeah.
So,
and I think this is a happy medium, right? Like I think about why this is important to me, right? Like, and I said this at the opening. I think it's important at the onset of this because my wife likes to go out just as much, right? So if I can go out to a place that she's going to enjoy, because she doesn't want to drink out of a can, she wants to feel maybe a little fancier, or whatever. Like this is a great place, and the prices are super reasonable. It's just like going out and buying a craft beer, and it's in an area of town where you can do multiple things. So you could start with a seltzer and go to like Grindberger or Emmy Squared, or you could, go to, Royal's Hot Chicken or wherever, and then come over here for a nightcap, right? And you're not going to feel bad leaving here.
Exactly.
Sometimes when you leave the bar, you're like, holy.
Oh, yeah.
That Uber ride is going to be $100 back to the East End.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, so we obviously, seltzers are, they've been trending for years, right? But like, that's not even why this place, came to be. It wasn't because seltzer was trending. It was because, we've seen seltzer as something that's kind of has not been ventured into as far as crafting and like trying different things and, making a product that's actually worthwhile to sit in the bar and drink in a glass. But yeah, like, definitely, like you can. This whole area is like it's ever growing. We get a lot of people in here, mostly tourists. We get a lot of tourists in here because we are the only seltzery in Louisville, and we are actually the fourth seltzer in the United States. The only one of those four that does vodka-based seltzers. So we're obviously a spot that tourists would want to come to if they're coming to Louisville, Kentucky, but yeah, like we want to be a place that obviously tourist people, come to, but we want to be a place that some of these people in, different industries come to as well. Like, that's why we did this mint julep seltzer. We want people in the bourbon industry to come here. We want people in the craft beer industry to come here, which is something we can get into. We do offer craft beer here too. It's a lot of our local picks that, me and some of the owners have put our heads together and our favorites and some favorites that we've got some opinion on as well. Like we've kind of collected what we think is the 4 or 5 best beers in Louisville, and we make sure to do all Louisville beers. We want to support Louisville as much as we can. We don't want to be in competition with these people. We want to grow with them.
Yeah.
So yeah, we just want to make a place that we kind of grow in the industry together.
Yeah, I mean, I think this place is a cool spot. I'm super excited about the future of it and the riff on different drinks, right? So as you think about, spirit bases, right? So you have vodka as your main spirit, but on your cocktail menu, you also have tequila.
Yeah.
And we've talked about bourbon. Are there any other spirits that you all may be looking to get into that are past, those 3 base spirits?
Yeah. So our next one that we're going to be looking at would be a gin-based beverage. We're going to look at a gin, hard seltzer. We haven't really decided what flavors we want to do with that or if we want to make it a permanent thing or a seasonal thing. But, gin's, a spirit that definitely can go with a lot of, it's very floral. And so it can go with a lot of fruit flavors and stuff like that. So, that's going to be our next experiment for sure.
Scott, since you are a resident gin drinker here on the Bourbon Lens, if you could pick a flavor that may be all ears here for the Local Seltzery, what would you pick?
So I just had the cucumber seltzer. I think that's that.
Oh, yeah.
I don't think you're too far off from a good gin and cucumber.
Yeah.
Hendrix is my gin. Now I know that's a very expensive gin, relatively speaking to vodkas and things like that. But
yeah,
I think those flavor profiles, floral, cucumber. I think that's where you need to.
I would agree with that. Yeah, that would be.
I don't think you need a lime seltzer with gin. I think you need to branch out just to see what else is out there. Yeah,
cucumber orange.
I don't know.
Maybe like a mint cucumber gin.
Mm-hmm. There we go. See, look,
add a little mint to it.
We got a little R&D going on this
R&D
episode.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I like it. I bet so. Like that's the fun thing, right? Because the sky's the limit.
Sky's the limit.
And the other cocktail we didn't talk about that's on the board for those people who don't know, Oaks is synonymous for raising money for breast cancer awareness. And they have a drink called the Lily, and you all have, I think, the NuLu Lily, if I'm correct, down there. And so that's another riff on a drink. So if you're in town, you can get those classic beverages that you would at the track, a mint julep or a Lily here at the Local Seltzery on their riff of that. So I think that's fun. Come put your fascinator on, as Scott asked me if I have built yet, and I have not fascinated my fascinator.
It's very fascinating.
It is very fascinating that a male has not fascinated yet. Or you can go be a man, put your fedora on, and grab you a mint julep.
Exactly.
So like if you were giving your best sales pitch, what's going to drive someone down to the Local Seltzery, whether local or traveler, as this is going to, again, release right before Derby, and we want to help people get to the Local Seltzery to try it out?
What the main thing I would say is branch out and try something new. There's tons of bars and there's tons of breweries in Louisville, Kentucky. We're like we was talking about earlier, Louisville's a huge in the beverage industry. We're the only seltzery. Branch out and try something new, and come here, experience what we have to offer. Like I'm sure that everybody's drinking White Claw and everybody's drinking Truly or a High Noon, but ours are truly different. And that's not even me sales pitching right now. Ours are truly different than those beverages. So, we provide a drink that's going to be really light. Like, say you're just coming out for a couple drinks before a dinner reservation. You can have 2 or 3 drinks here and still feel completely fine. Yeah. And go to your dinner reservation with an open stomach and ready to go. Or come after dinner. And have a couple drinks on a full stomach, and it's still not going to be that heavy on you. Either way.
The Banana Foster.
Have a Bananas Foster.
Yeah.
I've been a big fan of the Bananas Foster lately, so that's something that you're going to have to. You've had White Claw and you've had Truly, but you've never had a Bananas Foster seltzer. So.
No, you haven't, and it is dessert in a glass.
It is dessert, and it's delicious,
and it's under 100 calories. I think that's the better thing.
And you would not know it, and that's the thing. It's it's got all the flavors that you would expect to have in a Bananas Foster, and it's still under 100 calories. Yeah. But I would also another part of my sales pitch is, come here for the environment.
Yeah.
We have a really cool space here. The atmosphere that we've created is very, welcoming to anybody. It's very open. It's very clean. We do our due diligence to keep this place really clean and really fresh, and just kind of, trying to adhere to the NuLu in general. Yeah. NuLu is, stands for New Louisville. It's ever growing, and there's new stuff all the time, and really good environment, and we have a good time here, and on our weeknights, our weekend nights, we're here till 1 a.m. just like most bars. We stay open a little later than some of these breweries.
Yeah.
So most breweries around here stay open till 11, sometimes some of them midnight, but we're here till 1 a.m. and even in the summer we could potentially expand that till 2 a.m. and if we still have people here, then we'll go to the 4 a.m.
Crank it on up.
Yeah.
So this leads me to my question. We've tried 5 actually. We've tried 5 because we have a flight, and then we've had the mint julep, and we have Bananas Foster. What's your favorite?
I think I got to go with the mint julep. I think it's like perfect time coming into spring. It's what I respect, whiskey drinker.
So the mint julep, I think I'm going to just leave off to the side because I agree. I think the mint julep would have been my favorite as well. But I have a peach and a mango and a blueberry. I'm going to be honest with you. Each of them provide something a little bit different.
For sure.
But what I liked about the blueberry was the finish. That sounds weird. I'm talking in whiskey terminology.
I mean, it's true though.
But the finish is like fresh blueberries.
Yeah.
And like that is something I didn't expect, is that freshness and that taste. The peach and the mango were absolutely great as well, but the blueberry just kind of like did it for me. I love blueberry flavored things, blueberry Pop-Tarts, all those things. And I get a little reminiscence of being a kid again, drinking the blueberry cobbler. So,
and I'm glad you said that too, because like I said, we want to create like a place that a seltzer actually has, qualities about it.
Yeah.
Yeah. So like you said, blueberry finish, that's what we're trying to do here. Like we want to create like an experience, we want people in all, like craft beer has, these beers have a lot of these qualities about them. And, bourbon obviously has a million qualities about them, and great qualities. It's going to have, like a maple and like a oak finish. You can come to the Seltzery and, we want those people to come in here and experience what we have. You're going to have, for a peach, you're going to have, a peach, and then you're going to have like a sugar-based finish and stuff like that. Like it's definitely a drink that you can break down. It's not something that's very, simplistic. Our drinks are pretty complex here.
Yeah. No, I think it's really well done. I believe if you are coming to Louisville, Kentucky over the next 2 weeks, this is a spot you need to try. And I'm not just pitching that because we're here. Like I think it's unique. It's different. It's lighter, right? Everything that we do in Kentucky is heavy. The food is heavy and good.
We go all out.
The beer is good. The whiskey is the best. But like if you want to try something uniquely different, I'm of the opinion that you need to try this place. Really well priced. There's a great way you can take cans home with you, canned, ready to go.
For sure.
On demand. So if you find a flavor you really love, get you a can to go and enjoy it when you get back to your home or your apartment or your Airbnb that you're in for the night. Because you're in town for Derby and Oaks and all of that. So we try to keep it really, really, like really well priced. Like our cocktails are $7.75. A lot of places, if you go to some of these nice cocktail bars, which is reasonably priced, but like, you'll get like a $12 or $13 cocktail. Like I said, our cocktails are going to be $5 less than that. Yeah. And a lot of times you're still going to get the same alcohol content, but just in a different way. And, our seltzers are $5.57. And you're getting a 15-ounce glass, a 10-ounce pour.
Yeah.
So, we're giving you a good size, good price for sure.
So as we wind down here this evening, Scott, is there anything else that you have for Tyler?
I'm just ready to watch some ponies race.
Oh man, I've not seen anybody. I don't know who is in the Derby yet. I need to start.
I need to educate myself.
Yeah, I need to start educating myself.
That's just part of it. It's the whole Derby experience.
I got to get a program, act like I know what I'm doing.
Yeah, right.
Hold it real tight, roll it up, put it in your back pocket.
Even if you're not, act like you're betting on one of them at least.
Yeah,
right?
got your pen handy. Got your pen. Yeah.
You got to get the small, like little, like golf pencil.
Golf pencil. Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, you got to act like
sure.
you've been there before. So, where can people like learn more about the Local Seltzery and maybe upcoming flavors and things that y'all are doing?
Yeah, so I would always social media. Our Instagram is going to be our biggest form of social media that we any kind of new event, any kind of new flavor that we have, we're going to post it on Instagram. And then obviously check out our website. Our website's going to have our extensive menu on it as well. So you can see what we have and what you want before you even get here.
Awesome.
And then once you get, I would just suggest come and check us out. We have a really good indoor space here. We have a really good outdoor space. We have a front patio. We have an alley garage door bar that summer's coming up. It's gonna be really nice to sit in an outdoor bar and order your drinks and sip a seltzer at the bar. And we have a really nice back patio with a lot of lounge couches and chairs and egg chairs that's it's been trending lately. They're very comfortable egg chairs. Yeah. And then where we're sitting at right now, we have an upstairs mezzanine that is it's really nice. We got a couple couches, we got We got a bar, a couple lounge chairs, and you can rent this space as well. We do rent out this upstairs space for party events and stuff like that. But yeah, I would definitely suggest checking out our social media. Our Instagram is definitely the one to check out.
And is it at the Local Seltzery?
Yep, it's at the Local Seltzery.
Keep it simple. I like that. Keep it
simple, right?
It's all in the show notes.
It's all in the show notes. Yeah, exactly. Well, thanks everybody for joining another episode of the Bourbon Lens on site. Man, it's so good to be out and back with the people.
Yeah.
Right. We've missed this. Tyler, thank you so much for hosting us tonight. As always, thank you for listening to this episode. You can rate, give us a 5-star review on your favorite podcast listening app. We'd greatly appreciate it. You can follow us on social media at Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, and TikTok at Bourbon Lens. And lastly, if you are interested in joining our Patreon, go to patreon.com/Bourbon Lens, and then you can sign up there. We have awesome opportunities to do barrel picks with us, get exclusive merchandise, and even just hang out and drink whiskey with the crew. So until next time, cheers.
Cheers.
Cheers.